Hello, Year 11. Today we're going to be looking at practicing a response question to a Jekyll and Hyde extract question. So for today's lesson, you'll need a pen, some paper, because this work will go into your revision folders, and a highlighter. And your title is Jekyll and Hyde extract question. So when you've written that down on the paper or in your book, we'll go on to the next slide. So you'll do now is, from memory, write down 3 quotes that support the theme of duality. 5 minutes to do that. Here's the 3 that I came up with. You could have had, man is not truly one, but two. I mean, that's right on the nose, that one, isn't it? If you wanted to analyse that, you'd look at the one, but two, and man words. Second one, slightly more complex. The large, handsome face of Dr. Jekyll grew pale to the very lips, and there came a blackness about his eyes. That shows duality. I mean, he's not changing into Hyde at this point, but that shows duality because, as we know, Stevenson was making the point that the dark side is in all of us without having to turn into Hyde. So he was showing that the dark side of his personality as he grew pale to the very lips, and there was a blackness about his eyes when he received some bad news. And the third one is sort of tied to pathetic fallacy. The fog still slept on the wing above the drowned city. There is something in the middle there, but if you want to break a quote, put a slash in there like I've done. The fog still slept on the wing above the drowned city, which is a very dark, conjures up a very dark scene. But the room was gay with firelight. That sentence ends. So there's duality right there, from the dark to the light. I'm sure you had different ones. I'll be interested to see what they were. Now, what's the first thing I ask? Look at the command words in the question you answer. In fact, it should say highlight the command words in the question, which I'm going to do now in yellow. All things being equal, right? So, explore how Stevenson presents ideas about typical Victorian gentlemen through the presentation of Mr. Utterson in this extract, and crucially elsewhere in the novel. So that's what you would do. You would highlight the command words so that they're always in your mind, and you can look back up at the question and make sure you stay focused on the question. Right, now you need 6 quotations, 4 from the extract, so you can build 4 paragraphs around those, and 2 from elsewhere in the novel. You can go to more than one other place for the elsewhere part, which makes it significantly easier. So let's have a look. Mr. Utter, I'm going to go through in red and highlight the quotes that I would use. Right, so we're looking for how why isn't this working? There we are. We're looking for how Mr. Utterson has been presented as a Victorian gentleman, and straight away I think Mr. Utterson, the lawyer. A lawyer is a very respectable profession, and he would be held in high esteem by society. We could definitely write a paragraph around that. Was a man of rugged countenance that was never blighted by a smile, cold, scanty, and embarrassed in discourse, backward in sentiment, lean, long, dusty, dreary, and yet somehow lovable. At friendly meetings, and when the wine was to his taste, something eminently human beaconed from his eye, something indeed which had never found his way into his talk, but which spoke not only in these silent symbols of the after-dinner face, but more often and loudly in the acts of his life. He was austere with himself. Austere means he was strict with himself. So that's something that a Victorian gentleman would definitely be. He would be strict with himself. So that's 2. He would have austere with himself. Drank gin when he was alone to mortify a taste for vintages. And though he enjoyed the theatre, had not crossed the doors of one for 20 years. But he had an approved tolerance for others, sometimes wondering almost with envy at the high pressure of spirits involved in their misdeeds, and in any extremity inclined to help rather than to reprove. I incline to Cain's heresy, he used to say quaintly. I let my brother go to the devil in his own way. I let my brother go to the devil in his own way. In other words, he minds his own business. That's a very Victorian trait. In this character, it was frequently his fortune to be the last reputable and the last good influence in the lives of downgoing men, and to such as these, as so long as they came about his chambers, he never marked a shade of change in his demeanour. So I'll have that one as well. He never marked a shade of change in his demeanour. Always the same person. This is what Robert Louis Stevenson was setting out to undermine, wasn't it? We're not always the same person. But a Victorian gentleman via Mr. Utterson has been presented as, utterly steadily and unchanging. Demeanour is, all that means is how you appear. So there's never a shade of change in his appearance. So we've got our 4 quotes there for the 4 paragraphs from relating to the extract. Now, once you have your 4 quotes from the extract and 2 from elsewhere, you mind map it like this. So if you look at the top right there, Mr. Utterson, the lawyer, just do it like this. So you write the quote, and then you write, the lawyer is a very respectable profession. Analyse the word Mr. Utterson and lawyer. Right, so you don't forget, you're doing this like peel paragraphs. So you've got your quote, and you have to build a peel paragraph around the quote. You know how to do this. The evidence is the quote, obviously, and then you analyse the 2 words that you think most powerfully answer the question, and you do that the 4 times from the extract. Elsewhere in the novel, I've gone to the incident in the window down there. Look, bottom left. God forgive us, God forgive us. He turns to religion like a Victorian gentleman when scared. Analyse the words God and forgive. Now, it's important that you mention context in this response, and context is merely the something that's of the time, of Victorian times, and as we all know, religion was a significantly more influential force then than perhaps it is now. So you could talk about the fact that he, like a Victorian gentleman, he turns to God when he's scared, because God rode a lot more highly in people's minds then than it did now. That would be context. And elsewhere, I've got another elsewhere quote over there. So you've got the 4 on the top half from the extract and 2 from elsewhere. Now I want you to answer this question using the method I've shown you, but with your own quotes. I've deliberately, when I've gone through and found my evidence, found not the most powerful quotes. So I've left the most powerful ones in there for you. And plan it in the way that I have, and upload your responses to class charts. So good luck with that. I look forward to reading these responses, and I shall speak to you very soon. Thank you, Year 11.